In simple terms, a comic book colorist takes black and white line art and adds color. But it's easy for readers to take a colorist's work for granted and not fully appreciate how it impacts every page.
I call color the silent soundtrack because you can tell the story underneath and people don't even think about it. It's just like they're looking at the art, they're reading the story, but the color actually enhances the storytelling.
Since the mid-1970s, Steve Oliff has enhanced tens of thousands of pages of comics, from The Incredible Hulk to Akira. He's been around long enough to see the tools of his trade change. Oliff wanted to educate people on the evolution of comic book coloring with an exhibit at the Comic-Con Museum called Big Dots to the Digital Universe.
Comic books came out of the newspaper tradition. It was cheap paper. They wanted a cheap product, so they had a very limited palette.
A palette that started with just 4 colors and printed using small dots. The colors were cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, commonly referred to as CMYK.
And CMYK are the colors of the printing that every magazine, everything that's printed in color generally is printed using those 4 colors. Depending upon the percentages of each of those colors, they would usually get 64 colors and they had to try to make it work. That's not very much to work with.
But that's what Oliff had to work with when he started coloring comics nearly 50 years ago.
These are old 3M color keys, the key to color separation. They would break it down into 4 different layers so you could see each of the printing plates. The yellow, the magenta, and then when the blue, and as you can see, the colors just keep getting richer and thicker, and then finally the black or the K-tone to tie it all together.
But then came Akira.
Well, I got the job of coloring Akira, which is a absolutely world-famous manga. Akira was the first actual comic book that was colored for production using a computer. It would start with the line artwork that came from Japan. Then we would take a reduced copy and then we'd do our color guide. So then it would go to my computer crew and they would do their computer color separation. As you can see, from our first proof to the actual chromalin proof of what was going to be printed, we made some changes. And that was one thing that was great about computers. If you wanted to change something, you could. Whereas if you did it by hand, it's very difficult. The technology has reached a level where the only thing that will hold anybody back from coloring well is their talent and their vision.
Oliff's career provides the perfect canvas for appreciating the art of the colorist and how the process of creating comics has changed over the decades. The exhibit will run through next August at the Comic-Con Museum in Balboa Park. Thanks for watching. I'm Beth Accomando, KPBS Arts and Culture reporter, and I cover everything from the Comic-Con Museum to film reviews. So check out the playlist and subscribe. That's all, folks.